So hey my tater tots, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, as you can probably tell by the title, no, it's not clickbait. We're going to be doing a story time, and I'm going to be basically telling y'all how I found out that I had COVID. I'm going to be telling y'all how I found out and kind of like my experience with it. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be touching on. In all honesty, I was not going to do this video for obvious reasons. However, I decided to go ahead and just do it anyways, mainly because just given the climate that we're in at the moment, where you constantly keep seeing cases going up and up and up, and it's just, honestly, it's just getting worse. And I feel like nobody is really taking it seriously. Nobody really took it seriously at first, if we being honest. I feel like now people are taking it even less serious, and it's getting worse. So, you know, that's not good at all. So I just wanted to come on here and just give my experience and kind of tell my story. Hopefully this will provide some type of motivation for y'all to wear y'all masks, wash your hands, put some hand sanitizer on, social distance, do all of these things simultaneously so you do not end up like me and, you know, thousands of other people that were infected by this. But anyways, we already doing too much in this intro. Make sure y'all give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button and the bell. Make sure you add me on my other socials. They'll be on the screen. They'll be in the intro, the outro, the description box. You can't miss it. And let's get right into the video. Okay, so this was, I'm not gonna tell y'all the exact date when this happened because A, that's not really relevant, and B, I'm still a person and, you know, I like my privacy and stuff. I'm already telling y'all something that's very personal, so I want to, you know, kind of contain some of, you know, the major details. While I have an idea of where I was at when I caught the virus and who might have given it to me, of course that information was never confirmed because, you know, if I knew the exact moment where I caught it, I probably wouldn't have ever had it because I would have avoided catching it, you know? But either way, that's not important because regardless of if I knew or not, I still got it. So like I said, this was a few months back, and oh my God, I cannot believe I am telling y'all this. So the day I think I caught it, I believe it was either a Saturday or a Sunday. Clearly, I don't know for sure, but I feel like it was one of those 2 days. Saturday and Sunday, I felt completely fine. Nothing was wrong with me. I was just going about my day like it was a regular day. Now, Monday came around and my throat started getting, you know, kind of scratchy. So it wasn't nothing major, but, you know, I was just like, I just noticed my throat was getting scratchy. Then later that day, my nose started getting like stuffy kinda. And I was just like, that's very weird. Of course, when I started experiencing that, COVID came across my mind. I'm like, oh, can it be COVID? I hope not. But yeah, at the same time, I really didn't think too heavily on it because I was just like, girl, like these are common cold symptoms. It is still cold season, so don't just assume that you have COVID because you have 2 COVID symptoms. Those are also common cold symptoms, or you could have the flu. I've never had the flu, but it was possible that I could have had the flu. So basically, I just kind of just tossed those thoughts to the back of my head and I just kept on with my day. Now, like I said, that might have been Monday. Tuesday, y'all, my throat was still scratchy, but it was a little worse. My nose was still stopped up. But in addition to that, I woke up. This is how I knew something was wrong with me. Not only did I have a crazy headache, and mind you, I never get headaches like ever in my life. Not only did I have a crazy headache, but I woke up with a headache. That has never happened to me in my whole life. I have never woke up with a headache. It was just so crazy. It was to the point where like I didn't even want to like open my eyes because it kind of hurt. I was just like, what the hell is going on? But yeah, I just felt like this throbbing pain. It was in the back of my head, like the whole back of my head. It just felt like this crazy pounding feeling. But anyway, so I just kind of laid there and, you know, I was just like, oh my gosh, I really hope that I do not have COVID. I really hope I do not have COVID. And then it kind of came and went throughout the day. Like it would maybe throb for 20-30 minutes and it'll leave for a few hours and it'll come back. It kind of just kept coming and going. But again, I kind of tossed COVID to the back of my mind because I didn't want to feel those thoughts into my head. I think those were the only symptoms that I experienced on that day, because after that, once that stuff started happening, I just knew. I was like, honestly, I knew that if I got tested for COVID and it did come back positive, I knew that they were just gonna tell me to social distance, well, not social distance, but quarantine. Yeah, it's not like they was gonna take me to the hospital. They wasn't gonna put me on no meds. They wasn't gonna do none of that. All they was gonna do was tell me to quarantine or whatever. I started not to even get tested because I'm like, okay, well, I know how to quarantine by myself. Like, I don't need nobody to tell me to quarantine. But the suspense was kind of killing me, and I was just like, no, like, I gotta go get tested. I gotta go get tested, because like it was just eating me up. So the next day, so this might have been Wednesday. Yep, it makes sense, because I remember I did get tested. So that Wednesday, I no longer had my headache. So I'm like, okay, I'm feeling better about this. You know, some of my symptoms are starting to die down. Maybe it's just a coincidence that I just had a headache yesterday. So my throat wasn't as scratchy anymore either. So, you know, that was a good sign as well. So, you know, things were starting to look up for me. I was getting a little bit more optimistic about my results. So I'm just like, okay, I'm starting to, you know, no longer have these symptoms that I was having. I don't know what was going on the other day, but clearly I don't have COVID. I was wrong. My nose still was a little stopped up, but it wasn't nothing crazy. But I was just like, you know, again, this could be a common cold. That doesn't necessarily mean you have COVID because your nose is stopped up. So yeah, it was a Wednesday and I went and got tested or whatever. I don't know if you guys know what a COVID test is like. I believe there's 2 different kinds, but the one that I did, they just took, basically they take like a Q-tip. They put something on it, I don't even know. But they just like swab the inside of both of your nostrils, and then they put it in a baggie, and then you're good to go. And then they just like, okay, we'll send you your results in a few days. Until then, just kind of quarantine, take care of yourself, etc. After I got tested, I really wasn't thinking too much more about it, just because I was like, okay, you know, I'm feeling better. Like, it's really nothing for me to worry about. It's gonna come back negative, and you know, I'm just gonna buy my business. Wrong. So y'all, I got home later that day, and while those symptoms that I described earlier, I no longer had those, y'all. This is where I started to get scared. I remember when I came in, I just started feeling like a weakness in my body. Like, I swear to God, like, y'all, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I felt like this slight weakness. It wasn't to the point where I was like immobile, but you know, I could just feel that I wasn't normal. It was like my joints and my muscles, they just felt very weak. It was kind of uncomfortable to stand up just because I felt so weak. Like, I was able to stand up and walk around and stuff, but I just didn't want to. So with that, I decided to just lay down for the rest of the day. I was watching TV and stuff, just kind of just relaxing or whatever. As time went on, like later on that night, the feeling, that weak feeling, it kind of went away. But you know, as I was laying down, I was looking all the stuff up. I was looking up COVID symptoms, and you know, that was a symptom. I'm like, you know what, this is getting to be too much. Like, I ain't even gonna lie. This is starting to, you know, like, I don't even know. Now, this is where I started to get scared, y'all. It wasn't even the muscle and joint weakness. It wasn't the stopped up nose. It was none of that for me. Y'all, I promise you, my right-handed guy, I was laying down in my bed. Mind you, my heat is off, my air is off. Nothing is going on with my thermostat. It's just the regular room temperature in here. I was laying down watching TV. I was under my covers, and I just literally, like, within the snap of a finger, there was no type of transition. It was just instant, like snap of a finger, blink of an eye. I just started getting so hot. Like, my body literally felt like I was in the middle of like a sauna. Like, I was so hot out of nowhere, and I was just like, that is so weird. Like, why did that just happen to me? So I remember like just taking the covers off me, and I'm like, why am I so hot or whatever? So I'm just still laying there because, again, I'm still feeling kind of weak. I don't want to like move or anything, but I just remember like throwing the covers off of me. I think I took my pants off. Like, I was hot as hell, and it just lasted for a few minutes, but it was just really crazy because I'm like, what the hell just happened? But the scarier part is, so y'all probably know what I was thinking now by this time, like, oh my God, fever. Oh my goodness, like one of the most common COVID symptoms, fever. I'm like, oh my God, please tell me that this is like a bad dream or something. By this time, y'all probably thinking like, okay, it can't get no worse. Well, you're wrong, cause it does. Not only did I start experiencing like these, not necessarily hot flashes, but like I said, this like wave of heat just came over me. I kid you not, maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes max went past. I'm still laying there. Nothing has changed other than, like I said, I took my pants off, I took the covers off me. And I kid you not, y'all, within the like split second snap of a finger, I just caught like this wave of chills over my body. I was freezing cold. My right-handed guy, y'all. I wish I was making this up, I really do, but I promise you this is the honest to God truth. It was like just in an instant. There was no, that was the scary part for me, because not only was my temperature just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, it was happening in instances. I really thought like I was in my last moments. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I'm like, I have never experienced nothing like this in my life. I have never even heard of nothing like this happening. What the hell is going on? So yeah, I was laying there and I just got so cold. Like I was freezing. So I put the covers back over me, and by this time I was like kind of, honestly, I don't know if I was shaking because I was cold or if it was like a nervous type of thing. I really don't even know, but I know I was just shaking and laying there, and I'm like, God, please, like I was so scared, y'all. I ain't even gonna sit up here and act like this whole thing didn't faze me. I mean, I wasn't too scared about the whole thing, but we'll get into that later. But that moment where the temperatures kept switching back and forth like that, it was so scary because I didn't know what to do. I really did not know what to do. I promise you, I just kept laying in my bed. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and you know, I don't even remember too clearly what else happened after that, but it switched back and forth within like a few minutes each. It did that a few times for maybe about, I don't even remember how long it lasted, maybe about 30 or so minutes. I really don't remember because this was a little while ago, and you know, I could be wrong. Like it probably could have been 5 minutes, but it felt like 30 to me because I was just so scared. So yeah, I really don't know how long it lasted, but that was very scary to me, y'all. I really did not know what to do. I was so happy when it stopped. Whew, y'all, I was scared. So yeah, same thing later that night. I just kept on laying down. I kept talking to God and stuff, and I was doing all this other kind of stuff to, you know, just, I was staying hydrated. I'm like, tonight I'm gonna give me a lot of sleep. I'm really, at this point, I wasn't even worried about my schoolwork too much. I wasn't worried about YouTube too much. I was still getting that stuff done, don't get me wrong, but at that moment, that was not my main focus. I could care less about any of that stuff. My main focus was my health and keeping myself, you know, making sure I was good. Luckily, that stopped or whatever. The night kind of went pretty normal after that. Nothing too crazy happened after that. I went to sleep the next day. It was pretty much no symptoms at all. My nose was a little runny, but that was really it. So maybe like that Thursday through the weekend, I felt completely normal, like nothing was wrong. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, Sunday is where it just all went downhill for me. Like I said, on Sunday, I wasn't experiencing any more symptoms. I was feeling back good, feeling back kind of like myself other than like my runny nose. Sunday, I got an email from the people that tested me or whatever. And when it, like the subject of it, it was just something along the lines of like, your results are in, like it was Maury or something. Like, oh my goodness, that was so dramatic. But anyways, so I promise you, like when I saw that, I did not want to open it. I did not want to open that email because I was so scared of what it was gonna say. I promise you, I did not even open it for like a good hour or so. I was just like, I'm not opening it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But then I kind of came to my senses after that, and I'm just like, Ty, whether you open it now or if you open it in 3 days, whatever is on that email is gonna be the same thing you read whenever you open it. So you might as well just open it now and find out what's going on with you. So I ended up opening the email, y'all, and it said that I was COVID positive. Y'all, I promise you, when I saw that, I just looked at it. Like my mouth literally dropped. I was just like, just staring at the screen. I ain't gonna lie, I cried so hard. And I was just crying and crying and crying and crying. And I was just like, wow, like I was in disbelief. I'm like, I could not believe that I had just caught COVID. I didn't know what else to do other than cry. So then I called my mama, and I told her, I just called her, I'm basically like, why I come back positive? And you know, we was just sitting on the phone, we was just talking, and you know, I'm really not gonna do too much talking about what we was talking about. But anyways, like I let her know that it came back positive or whatever. Later that day, I was just kind of like, I'm not gonna let this like completely control my moods. I'm not gonna let this take over my life or my next few weeks or whatever the case is. I'm not gonna be irresponsible like, you know, some other people, which is part of the reason why we even in this predicament still, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take care of my responsibilities. I'm gonna quarantine. I'm not gonna put nobody else at risk. I'm going to, I guess for the next few days, I'm gonna just stay hydrated, give me a lot of rest, take some time to, you know, focus on my mental health, my sanity, because honey, I feel like I almost went insane within like that week or so. But anyways, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna just do what I need to do, just take care of myself and, you know, just basically nurse myself back to health. Problems came the next day when I got an email. So again, this is Monday, and I got an email from housing, and basically he tried to tell me like, you need to go quarantine in room, whatever the room, 300, like whatever the room number was. But basically he was telling me like I had to leave my room and go quarantine in a whole nother room. And I'm like, no. I'm like, okay, let me, before I, you know, get upset, I'm like, you know, he probably don't understand that, you know, like I don't have a roommate, you know, like I'm already quarantining in my own space, so I don't need to move, sir. I'm like, you know what, let me just, you know, politely, respectfully let him know that. So I did, and I emailed him back, and he was basically just like, this is our policy and you have to move to that room or whatever. And he was like, please gather all of your personal belongings because you will not be allowed out of that room until your quarantine is up. And he was just saying a bunch of stuff, and he was just like, if this doesn't work for you, you're more than welcome to quarantine at your permanent address. Girl, just saying all kind of stuff. So you know, I ain't even gonna include the emails because honey, it was so much said, and I don't even want y'all to see me in that kind of light. But I really felt like he just wasn't trying to cooperate with me. Yes, I understand that was their policy, and you know, he was doing what he felt like he had to do to keep the rest of these schools safe. While yes, this is a physical health matter, what about mental health? I feel like that's the problem with, you know, today's world in general. Like mental health is so watered down and downplayed as if like it's beneath everything else. Like, okay, yes, I understand that we're trying to protect physical health here, but damn, what about my mental health? Like, okay, I said I didn't have a problem with quarantining. That's fine. That's not my issue. My issue is, why are y'all trying to put me in a whole psych ward to quarantine? I'm gonna include a picture on the side of what the room looked like when I finally went down there. I'm like, let me go down there and see what the room looked like. So I went down there and I opened the door, and that's what I saw. And I'm like, hell no. I'm not staying in this room. I am not staying in here, baby. I will go insane in here. I didn't even consider it. As soon as I saw it, I didn't even consider it. I took it very personal because I'm like, personally, okay, I'm not gonna sit up here and say that I was depressed for a long time because technically I was never diagnosed, but I know what I felt, and what I felt for all of those years felt like depression. Whatever it was, I just knew that I never wanted to go back to that place. And I can honestly say I worked my ass off for years to get myself out of that funk or whatever it was. As I always say, like this year in 2020, like despite all that has gone on, this is probably the best my mental state has ever been for this long period of time ever. And I was just not going to have all of those years of work be undone in, you know, 5-6 days that I technically had left to quarantine. I was like, no, like I promise y'all, I know y'all probably can't see too much just in that picture, but I promise you, it would have been me and them 4 walls in there. Mind you, this is not like, oh, you just gotta stay here for a few days. Like you gotta remember, you cannot leave this room at all. You can't go downstairs, you can't go across the hall, you cannot leave this room. So it was just gonna be me, them 4 walls, no TV, nothing on the walls, no decor. Like, honey, I'm not going to lay in there, but that bed, it was just so, like, honey, like, no, I stay in here on a king size bed. I'm not finna go lay on that gel mattress. I'm not doing that, honey. I got lavender infused mattress pads, memory foam. I'm not laying on that, you know, I'm not doing that. Like, it wasn't even about the bed, but I'm just throwing that out there. Bottom line, I just knew I wasn't staying in there, so I'm like, do I really want to put these miles on my car and go home in the middle of the week? No. But do I feel like it's worth it to, you know, preserve my mental health? Absolutely. So I went back to my room. I packed up the stuff that I felt like I was gonna need while I was there. I went home that day, and basically I went home and quarantined. And before y'all jump down my throat talking about, oh, you know, that could have put other people in the house at risk, you're right, it could have. If the quarantine process was done incorrectly, which that was not the case. I went home to quarantine, and that's what I did. I stayed in my room. I was not interacting with nobody else in my house like that. I stayed to myself. I rarely came out my room. I rarely come out my room anyway when we at home, so it was no different for me. But yeah, so I went home to quarantine. I wasn't putting anybody else at risk. The time I was there, nobody else in the house was infected by my presence. Yeah, so before y'all even say that, because I know it was coming, no, I knew what I was doing and I did it right, and nobody else was infected. Y'all, and then another thing, when I got home that Monday, it was so crazy because like I said, the other symptoms had kind of left and I wasn't really dealing with symptoms anymore. But I remember I went home and I was like straightening up my room so I could lay down or whatever. And I remember after I cleaned up, I lit a candle. After that, I went and got in the shower. I got in the shower, you know, I'm cleaning myself off or whatever, and I'm like, I smell my arm. I couldn't smell the soap, y'all. I was like, I know damn well I did not just lose my sense of smell, because that's a common one too. I'm like, God, whatever I did, I'm sorry, but can I get my smell back, please? So then I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just tripping or whatever. Like maybe just, I don't know, maybe I'm a little off. But then I went back in my room after I got out the shower. And remember I told y'all I lit the candle? I couldn't smell the candle, y'all. And I'm like, you know what? I know I'm not crazy. I walked over to the candle, hovered over it, like my nose was directly on top of the candle, on the damn near in the flames. And y'all, I couldn't smell the candle. I was like, wow. And I promise y'all, my sense of smell was gone for maybe like 5 days. Then it came back. But y'all, that might have been the worst part of my whole COVID experience. That was so bad. I just, ooh, it was like I felt trapped within my own body. It was so bad. But yeah, other than that and the other symptoms that I mentioned, those were the only symptoms that I personally experienced. I kept my sense of taste the whole time. I never lost that. A lot of people said they lost their sense of taste, but I did not. And yeah, there's a bunch of other symptoms, but those, the ones I mentioned, are the only ones I experienced. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole story time. After that, I was, you know, good to go. I took care of myself the whole time. I stayed hydrated. I got plenty of rest. Eat some fruits, eat some vegetables, all of these things. Don't start packing your body up with drugs. You don't need all that. Take care of your body. Do everything the natural way. Drink you some tea. Not like Pure Leaf, but like herbal tea. And yeah, just take care of your body. That's the best advice I can give to somebody that's battling COVID or, you know, is going through anything similar. Just take care of your body. You don't need a bunch of drugs and stuff. Most importantly, please, y'all, social distance. Wear your mask. Don't be in no crowds. Don't think it can't happen to you, because it can. And that's where I messed up at. Thinking, oh, it can't happen to me. I ain't gonna get no COVID. Yes, you can. And I did, y'all. I was so salty. But anyways, yeah, y'all. COVID is not no game. And you gotta remember, like, I'm sitting here just talking about it on like a light note, but you have to remember that everybody was not as blessed as I was for this to be their outcome. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that have died in this year alone from COVID. Like, everybody didn't make it to this point like I did. There was hundreds of thousands of people that COVID was they in. Like, COVID ended them. So, like, it's not even something, I'm sitting here talking about it on a lighter note because, you know, like I said, I'm very grateful and I'm very blessed and I'm very thankful that, you know, I never had to receive medical attention. I never had to go to the ICU. I never had to, my COVID case was very mild and it was never, you know, anything other than what I described. But like I said, I'm very grateful, I'm very blessed, and you know, I cannot thank God enough for bringing me through that, because that was terrible, y'all. That was 2 thumbs down. Definitely don't recommend. It's not worth it. Wear that mask, wash your hands, do everything else you need to do, social distance. It ain't worth it at the end of the day. But y'all, my camera finna die, I ain't even gonna lie. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you leave a comment down below, hit that bell and the subscribe button so you never miss when I post a video. Add me on my other socials, those will be on the screen. They'll be in the intro to outro description box, you can't miss it. Thank you guys once again for watching. Make sure y'all wear y'all mask, social distance, and if you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the description box, because I might be missing something because I'm rushing. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all.